Hey guys, I'm your host Ame, and this video is a recap of the books that I read in January 2021. I have a lofty goal to read 135 books this year. I want to share my journey and thoughts here too. I mostly read romance novels, but do sprinkle in other books here and there. So, without further ado, this is the book list. Number 1, The Wife Lottery, Fallon by Charlie Hart. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. Reverse harems are a really popular trope right now in the romance world. I've read one other reverse harem series before called Coulter's Legacy by Maya Banks, and even though I really enjoy Maya Banks' books, I really disliked the reverse harem aspect. I need there to be a plausible reason for the situation. Charlie Hart did a really good job at making the reverse harem work. In this alternate world, the population of women in the world is dwindling. One solution Alaska has come up with is to run a lottery where women are given to 6 men to marry. I really felt like Charlie Hart did a good job at creating a story of how the heroine Tia falls for each husband and tries to navigate an unusual dynamic. So, number 2, The Wife Protector, Giles, is book 2 in this series. Also by Charlie Hart. I gave this one a 3 out of 5. In the second book of 6 Men in Alaska, I did bring my rating down by 1 star. This one left me with so many questions and less connected to the family as a whole. I almost gave up on the story with this book, but it was worth pressing on. Number 3, The Wife Gamble, Salinger by Charlie Hart. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I'm pretty sure number 3 or number 4 sent me into very raw, very emotional tears, and I had to put the book down for a bit. Mostly because this book had so many parallels to what is happening in our own world right now and what was revealed to the reader. So I had to take just a little bit of a break, but I have this big goal to meet, so I can't leave a book behind for very long. I think I only took like an extra day because I just needed a breather, Number 4, The Wife Code, Banks by Charlie Hart. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. Banks is probably my least favorite husband. I didn't love his character development either, and he felt really one-dimensional compared to the other husbands. But still, the story was good. And number 5, The Wife Pact, Emerson by Charlie Hart. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I love Emerson. Emerson is my favorite husband. I really like that he was given more depth than just being the nice, sweet guy. Without giving spoilers, I really enjoyed the development that we got to his story with Tia. And then last, number 6, The Wife Legacy, Huxley by Charlie Hart. I gave this one a whopping 5 out of 5. I questioned Huxley the entire series. I did not trust him. I thought he was slimy. I was like, this is going to be the guy who's their downfall. Something is going to happen. This is not a good guy. I love that the books kind of silently coached us to not have faith in his character and then reeled us back in during his book. This book was so filled with emotion and story, I had to give it 5 stars. Number 7, Dark Lover by J.R. Ward. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. After reading a science fiction romance, I asked for help finding a fantasy romance that had more depth, like Harry Potter and Tolkien. The Black Dagger Brotherhood series did not disappoint. Be careful not to get confused and grab the first Black Dagger Legacy book. These come well after the Brotherhood series begins. Dark Lover follows the blind vampire king and his struggle to regain control of his world and do what's right for his people. There is world building, character development, struggles, and heart-wrenching ordeals. This one definitely warrants the 5 out of 5. Lover Eternal by J.R. Ward. 5 out of 5 stars. Lover Eternal follows Rage. This is the second book in the Black Dagger Brotherhood series. And Rage is the cursed vampire. I love how Ward dives in and tackles some of the hardest characters first. Rage has a curse and is known for being a ladies' man. No one expects him to fall for a human with cancer. My only downside is how many other people are checking these out and how I have to wait for each book. Number 9, Unwind by Neil Shusterman. 2 out of 5 stars. I had to DNF this. I really don't like to say I hate a book, since it's someone's work, but this one borders on hate. I added it to my TBR in 2012, and maybe I had a different mindset then, but I just could not finish this one. I struggled for a bit, and I finally decided to just Google the ending. I'm glad I did. The turn the story takes would have irritated me so much more. I gave it a 2 out of 5 because of the world building and the character creation. I disliked the character development and the dialogue just seemed so flat. I don't plan to continue to read this series. Number 10, It Had to Be You by Susan Elizabeth Phillips. I gave this one a 3 out of 5. Oh man, I almost DNF'd this one early on. All of the men were slimy and gross. There's so many nasty interactions, I was having a really hard time. Then there's this one scene that seems like statutory rape. It doesn't end up being what we think, but just getting through that scene was almost it for me. I literally only pushed through this because I DNF'd the book before, so I wanted to keep trying. I did not want to start my year out with 2 DNF'd books. So, the book finally takes a more acceptable turn. It's really unbelievable in some parts, and so I kind of disliked that as well. And again, I hate to criticize somebody's work, but I was not a huge fan of this one. Overall, the story ends on a high note, and I enjoyed the ending once we finally got there. But it took a lot to get there, and so I still gave it a 3 out of 5, and I don't plan to continue this series either. So that's it for January. January had 10 books, a little over 2,500 pages, and I actually ended up being, I think, a book behind because of January. When I have multiple books that I am struggling to get through, I slow down. I have a harder time completing them because I just don't like them. So books that should have taken me a day, 2 days to read take me 3 or 4, and it really bogs down my speed and being able to finish my goal. I have since caught up, but I may need to reevaluate if this happens again, like where I have multiples that I DNF, or I'm just not happy about. I need consistent happiness or enjoyment. Not necessarily happiness. They don't have to be happy for me to enjoy it, but I need to be enjoying them in order to keep up on the roll and meet my goals for reading this year. So I may have to reevaluate that if I come onto some more negative experiences again. But overall, I really enjoyed the 6 Men of Alaska, and I have really enjoyed the Black Dagger Brotherhood, and I've actually read more of J.R. Ward's works in February already. So, those will come in the February recap at the end of this month, and that's everything that I have to share with you right now. Let me know in the comments, have you read any of these books? What was your experience with them? And tell me, what will you read next?